This is a short video designed for you to self-assess where you are in terms of your lab reports. So I'm going to go through probably 3 levels. One, which is a pass or threshold pass. Some things are done well, some things are not done well. Mid, solid to good report, and an exemplar of very high standard that you should be aiming for. So this is a report on our formative task, and this is the introduction. And first thing is the quantum is not enough. There's not enough detail about what's being done and why. There's no supporting things in a report in terms of diagrams or articles or graphics that are there. It does have some academic referencing, which is a positive, but although it says this is what we're going to do, here's some context, it needs to be more elaborative. Going to what I call a solid effort, different one. Notice the quantum is larger. It has an associated graphic to illustrate and to assist in the comprehension of what's written. It does have more academic references and explains the theory behind in 2 paragraphs, and this is what we did in the 3rd paragraph. Next one I'm showing you is an exemplar. Very well organized. It's looking organized already. Here, introduction, lot more detail, a diagram, more academic references, a higher quantum of what is going on. So it's really extensive about what it is, and that's an HD level. So let's move now beyond that to the other section of going from aim through to results. We're staying with the HD level. Notice very clearly set out and logical. It's crisp. There's a hypothesis, there's an aim. It's not overstated. This area doesn't have to be highly descriptive. Materials, variables explained, and the method is very clear about what's going on. And so I can't say, yep, got it here. And results-wise, diagrams, photographs, because it's qualitative, diagrams and photographs. Doesn't mean to be too much explanation, because it is not so much of, it's a descriptive experiment. Moving on, let's have a look at the solid one. This one also is actually more than solid. It's a very thorough one, where it explains in description what the areas are. It has a short hypothesis, an if-then statement. Don't need to necessarily do the risk assessment. It's an addition. Materials method doesn't describe what you do. It's rather listed materials there, and the steps certainly here. A diagram, results, diagram, explanation of results, diagram. In fact, I think they've done that very well, better than perhaps the first example we look at. So, yep, very clear on what the intent. Let's move on now to here. Aim. Yep, again, quantum is an issue. It is a short aim. Hypothesis. Solid, no problem at all. Materials, clear, great. That's certainly a pass plus to credit sort of level. Method. This is where it gets a little bit strange for me, because it's really descriptive. It needs to probably be better expressed in steps like a recipe. So it's using a lot of words which are not necessarily adding a lot of value. Results, again, descriptive, but there's nothing to really support it. Now I have an appendice here, but that's where it should be embedded in the report. Let's have a look at the appendice, and I unfortunately cannot find it. So don't append things, place it in there. So it's not clear. I have to really find what are you getting at here, what it looks like, and I think pictures and diagrams speak 1,000 words. So some aspects are great. I think the results are not up to standard here than what's expected. Staying with this one, when on the past standard, the discussion's well done actually in this paper. First of all, you have to discuss the results. align it with what the theory is and any interesting information. So it was talked about, yes, it's proven partly correct. It explains what it's about. So all of that's really solid, good stuff. In fact, that's a good, solid discussion, and they led to an interesting. So that is certainly above a pass. That's a credit plus level at least there. And the conclusion doesn't need to be long. Overall, so that section is done okay in that report. It's the deficiencies of the earlier section that let it down. Referencing wise, probably could have had, no, there's a couple more there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, correct format, everything. So yeah, that's a solid effort there. So that's why it certainly is not failing, but it has some deficiencies to work on. Going to here, discussion. Again, what's happened? How does it relate to your expectation, your hypothesis? And there's a Christian emphasis. So in terms of this discussion, I would suggest that it's actually solid, but I think the earlier discussions actually are better because it has a lot more science involved in it and more precise, although it is mentioned here. Again, it's solid. Let's have a look at the high standard one that we're looking at here. Discussion. You talk about your results. You talk about theory, and then you explain any interesting information. So it's a really clear format. So well done. And then to also talk to a Christian perspective, which we like to see included, and how plants and animals are different. And the conclusion doesn't need to be long. So I think this discussion has a great format and very extensive. I think the other two discussions are quite equal in terms of their intent. And we flick through and have a look at more extensive references, which indicates, yep, this person's done a lot of work. Now, why did I show you all these? I showed you all these so that you can self-evaluate where you need to be. And going through, I'll throw through very clearly, put it all together. This is where you should be aiming for here. Well, have a contents page. Introduction must tell me the science. You can use diagrams, you can use graphics, and explain in detail, and this is what we are now going to do. Aim could be could be a couple of sentences, not that. Hypothesis, really clear, concise, very well set out. A statement on your variables is an important thing to include in your experiment, how you've controlled your variables. Method, again, clear. Results, diagrams and labels could benefit from some description here, which I think one of the others did, the solid effort did, and needed that probably. Discussion, excellent. And this is where, that's the point that I'm really after. Have you discussed your results? Have you linked it to your hypothesis? Have you linked it to your theory? And here's some interesting information. That does it well, and there's a Christian perspective that adds another layer of understanding and application, and a succinct conclusion. Could be another short paragraph that doesn't need to be extensive. References, well integrated, and also well listed that are there. That's where we should need to be aiming for in terms of a laboratory report.